Here in a second test we are testing our cell number 6, the world famous cell number 6, right? And I have connected the big Chinese cracker to it here and do a capacity test. So we're charging the battery to 3.65 volts, then fully discharging to 2.5 volts and measuring the capacity. See what we will get. Because this battery cell was always low and always high, so it looked like the internal resistance was actually a little bit higher on this cell here. That's why it peaked in both directions. But clearly the internal resistance is not different to all the other cells we have tested. So let's measure the capacity and see how much we will get. Because we know cell number 7, which was from the same delivery here, delivered 279 ampere hours. But this was a different tester. This is the A10 tester, the smaller one.
Many hours later.
Oh, we are still capacity measuring our cell number 6 here. And we are close to an end. We're already at 3.65 volts. And the current has tapered off to 6.5 amps now. The cutoff is 5 amp. That's what I've set inside the tester. So there will be another point. Maybe we go to 255 maximum. This is significant lower capacity than 280. And this is exactly the reason why cell number 6 is always low and always high. Because, well, the capacity is just not there. It's a lower capacity cell. Significant lower capacity. And we will come to an end of the test at 5.0 amps. Then it will stop charging this battery cell. There we go. It's off now, and this is our result. So we will have 3 different results now. So 81 is our first result. This is just wherever the battery was fully charged to 3.65 volts. This was 120 ampere hours. This is not relevant at all. And then it was fully charged to 3.65 volts. And we did a full discharge with 40 amps down to 2.5 volts. And this will be 82. And we have a capacity gained of 255.8 ampere hours. So this is like 10% almost less, 8.5. This is what we could pull from this cell number 6, 255.8 ampere hours. And then, as we have just seen, 83 is the full charge again from 2.5 volts up to 3.65 with a 5 amp cutoff. This is 254.7 ampere hours. Well guys, there you have it. Cell number 6. They sold me a 255 ampere hour battery instead of 280. Well, fair enough. This one doesn't have a sticker at all. So we don't know. At least it's 280 ampere hours on the invoice. I'm sure. I'm really keen to test one of the other battery cells like number 7 or number 8.
One eternity later.
And this is our cell number 7. The result is, okay, 81 is just to fully charge, and then 82 is the discharge capacity test. Look at this, 256 ampere hours, the same shit as cell number 6. This is another cell with much lower capacity. Insane. Okay, and then we fully charge with 255 again. Okay, let's test the other ones as well. Here we are coming close to another result. 267.6 ampere hours at 2.5 volts discharging. Again, one cell far under capacity. There's the result. Yeah, 267.7 for cell number 9. Oh wow. So, and this is the last cell we are testing in this series here. We're just stopping the test and having a look at 82, and we get 266.4 ampere hours out of cell number 13. And this will conclude our test series. Guys, welcome back to another video here from the Off-Kit Garage Winter Edition. 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers. It is so cold. Other people in the world have droughts, heat waves and fires. So I'm not complaining, we are good here. So I have all 16 battery cells of our battery 1.0 back on the workbench here. I have done all the capacity testing over the last almost a week now, almost a week. It just takes so long, even with 40 amps charging and discharging. You're looking at close to 15 to 20 hours per battery cell. And I have not tested all of them. I have tested 9 out of 16 now. So it gives us a pretty good understanding what is going on with battery 1.0. And I have our spreadsheet already open here, and I want to put the information into the spreadsheet and see what the results are. Let me tell you, I didn't bother showing you the test procedures, how to do a capacity test on these battery cells with the ZKE-Tester EBC-A40L, link down below. And I was running this solely from my solar panels and the SFK battery we have built a couple of weeks ago. It was just enough to keep everything alive. But I had to connect a third solar panel here. Otherwise, there's not enough energy to do all this testing just with solar. So we have here our 16 battery cells, 3 different deliveries. If you haven't seen the other 2 videos, I'll link them at the end of this video. And I'm testing my old battery 1.0, which I bought around 1.5, 2 years ago. But then we found out it is already 4 years old. So it was 2 years old already when they sold it to me. And in this video, we have done the full capacity test on 9 of these 16 cells. So cell number 3 has measured 270.4 ampere hours. And I've put a formula in this column here to calculate the degradation. So 280 ampere hours will be 100%. And with 270.4 ampere hours, we are down 3.4%. So number 5. And the green delivery here, the Vancouver delivery I had, these were 4 battery cells. Number 6, 7 and 8 gave us the most grief in this battery, so I have measured them all, including number 5. 267.9 ampere hours, 4.3% down. Okay, the cell number 6 has measured with 255.8 ampere hours. This battery is down 8.6% already. Isn't that insane? Cell number 7, 256 ampere hours, 8.6% down as well. Cell number 5, still okayish, 4.3% down, but then 6, 7 and 8 are over 8% capacity lost. And then I measured number 9 as well, just randomly, 267.7 ampere hours, 4%. And number 10 I have measured 261.4, 13, 266.4 ampere hours, 16, 259.3. So guys, here you have the result of my 9 capacity tests I have done with these 16 battery cells. And not surprisingly, cell number 3 was actually a bit higher because the cells from the first delivery, cell number 1, 2, 3 and 4 were always performing well, and we can see only 3.4% capacity lost. While the green delivery was the most troublesome batteries in the pack, and here we have the highest degradation with around 8.5% capacity apart from cell number 5. Guys, there you have it. There's our result from battery 1.0 different capacity tests. What do you think? And I have measured number 16 here because we have measured this twice before. The first time when I got it delivered here with the shunt tester, and I could get only 265 ampere hours out of this battery. And the second time was like the next day with the A10 tester, and we could get 271 ampere hours out. And now 2 years later, well, 1.5 years later, 259.3 ampere hours with the ZKE tester again. And I think. And I had the same with the battery number 7, which is one of our bad ones here, with 8.6% degradation. I measured this one with 279 ampere hours when I got it in December 2020, and now 1.5 years later, 256 ampere hours. I must admit, this was in summertime, so the batteries were probably 20-25 degrees warm, while now we have winter time and the batteries are ice cold. They have probably around 10-11 degrees. This is how cold it gets in wintertime here in the garage. Yeah, see, on top of the battery here, 11 degrees it has. So the conditions are a bit different here. And if the batteries are that cold, they tend to not have the full capacity anyway. So take these results with a grain of salt, because the conditions were not 100% the same, and we also have used a different tester. To be honest, I don't even know what the A10 tester is. I thought it was this small one, but this is the A20. And I never had any other testers from ZKE-Tech. So I'm not sure what I've written down there 2 years ago, A10 tester. No idea. Well, it's a different tester anyway. So, I mean, there you have the capacity readings from these battery cells I have tested now. And, well, I would say this leaves us now with two different scenarios. The first one could be, well, all these cells have never had 280 ampere hours in the first place. Maybe it was the missing capacity. They failed the testing and got auctioned off. Basin bought them and sold them to me as A-grade brand new batteries. And they never had the 280 ampere hours, which it says on the label here. Yeah, and as we have just seen, even in the early days when I got these batteries new, I could never measure 280 ampere hours, not with a shunt tester and not with the A10 tester. And now 2 years later with the ZKE tester, 260 ampere hours only. So, and as I said, maybe this was the reason they didn't pass the test. And none of these cells had actually 280 ampere hours. Who knows? The second scenario could be, well, all these cells had actually 200 ampere hours when they were produced, and they failed the testing because of other issues, internal resistance or small dents or other imperfections, and they couldn't be sold as certified automotive grade batteries. Well, and then again, because of my crappy test environment here, I could only measure 265 or 270 ampere hours. And now, after 4 years, they have degraded to 260 ampere hours roughly, which again is 7.4% down for this battery cell. So this would mean these batteries are degrading at a rate of around 5% in 4 years' time. Some of them have degraded more, some of them less. But in average, I would say around 5% degradation in 4 years' time. And because this was our battery 1.0 living in this plastic container there, and it was connected to our solar system and inverters for a year, a little bit over a year. And I've used it on a daily basis, charging, discharging, everything. And as per the calculations of the Victron Smart Shunt, I put around 75 cycles on these batteries in a bit over a year. Because we know the Victron Smart Shunt calculates these microcycles as well, and it accumulates all these little cycles. And when the sum of all these cycles passes one full cycle, it counts it as one. And before we took this battery apart, the Smart Shunt showed actually 74 or 75 full cycles on this battery. So 4 years' time plus 75 cycles on these batteries gives us around 5% degradation. This is probably something we can see with almost all rechargeable batteries, that they will lose capacity over time. And they do this on a faster rate at the beginning when they are new. I know this from the Tesla. It lost around 4 to 5% of the capacity in the first 1.5 years, and then it stabilized. So at the beginning, when the cell is new, they're losing far more capacity, and then the curve goes fairly flat until they're hitting around 80%, and then the curve drops again a little bit steeper afterwards. And then you're losing more capacity when the battery is really old and has done its full cycle life. Plus the calendar aging of 4 years' time on these battery cells. So 75 cycles plus the calendar age contributes to around 5% degradation in these battery cells. This is how I see it at the moment, but I don't know which of the two scenarios actually is true for these battery cells. Unfortunately, I don't have the data for that. When I got these batteries here, I didn't have all the test equipment, and it was December, summertime, the batteries were warm, and now I'm using a different tester and it is wintertime, the batteries are freezing cold. And I don't think we've got enough data here to make a conclusion what actually happened to these battery cells. If it is scenario 1 and they never had the 280 ampere hours, or scenario 2 and they have just aged and degraded in the last 4 years, we don't know. And then the big question is, where does this all leave us? Should we be concerned of buying these fake A-grade battery cells from Basin, QSO, Duncan, whatever they are called, all these resellers on Ali? And are we better off buying only certified automotive grade A-grade batteries from EVE? This is a question you have to answer yourself. And to be honest, these batteries here were bought at the very, very early stages on Alibaba. Basin was one of the first suppliers over there selling these factory rejected batteries. And maybe all these QSO batteries here in our battery shelf are from a far better quality now, because EVE has clearly evolved as well and is probably supplying a different battery quality now. I guess you could speculate all day long, right? And I'm really keen to read your comments under this video here, because I myself have invested a lot of money in these batteries and especially here in the battery shelf. And at this point, I'm not sure what I'm seeing here in this spreadsheet is normal, or I should be angry or sad about it. If we see 5% degradation in 4 years' time, this would mean the batteries will hit the 20% degradation mark after around 16 years of time. So from this perspective and very rough calculation, it would be an expected and also accepted degradation and lifespan of these battery cells, I guess. But having read all the comments under the last 2 videos of me testing these battery cells here, I think we the customers, are all part of a big experiment here. We are investing money in a technology which has not matured yet completely. And this is the reason why we see different battery cells on the market from EVE. We've got the 280, then the 280N, then the 280K. And the goop inside is slightly different every time because they're improving the quality of their cells. So I'm not sure if we can still compare these batteries, the 280 without any letter behind it, to the 280K batteries. This is what they are delivering now, and I'm sure there will be different cells coming out in the future again with again a different mixture of chemistry inside these battery cells. And here, especially with cell number 6 now having only 255 ampere hours left as capacity, this battery cell alone determines the capacity of the whole pack. I won't be able to pull more than 255.8 ampere hours out of all these battery cells, because then the BMS will turn off because this cell has reached 2.5 volts and the battery is empty, and the whole battery will shut down. Even other battery cells still have some capacity left. And then when we have a look at this cell here, 255.8, this is minus 8.6%. So my whole battery is basically down minus 8.6%. Of course, you could buy another batch of batteries of 4 or something and test them and then replace these 3 batteries with battery cells which have more capacity again to better match the other cells you have. But then you are hitting cell number 16 here with 260 ampere hours, 266, 267, and here even 261. I mean, where would you start, right? And then you also would have all these battery cells you taken out of your original battery pack left over somewhere, and they are still working. They just have less capacity. And you probably can do this once a year and test all your battery cells for capacity, and then replace cells which have degraded more with cells which have degraded less from your spare batteries, and mix and match them as you go. What an effort, right? And this is exactly the point where you make a decision if you want to buy these battery cells or if you want to spend more money and go for certified automotive grade batteries and you have the same capacity. Well, they should be within 5 ampere hours and they should degrade fairly consistent and equal. So again, this is the question you need to answer yourself. More money, better quality, less maintenance, or spending less money and having to deal with this. Guys, I would say I leave this with you for a moment. Think about it. Leave a comment down below what you think, scenario A or B. What are we seeing here? Are these cells just shit? Should we have spent like 50 to 70% more money and bought automotive grade certified cells? As always, guys, this spreadsheet is linked under my video. Come and have a look. All the data of battery 1.0 will be in this spreadsheet. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support here on the channel, especially your very generous donations. Thank you very, very much to all these wonderful and beautiful people who have been donating so far. Until the next video, guys, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye-bye. Here, guys, let me know what you think.